Hi, folks. Welcome to the program All About Cars. My name is Ralph Medeiros. I own and operate Ralph's Auto Center with my son, Andrew. We're located on Church Street, 867 Church Street in north end of New Bedford, just off exit 5 of 140, Route 140. Very easy to get to. Whether you're coming north or south on 140, just take exit 5 and head down Church Street. We're just past Regal House, and Ralph's is on the right, a few buildings over, right beside Dollar General. Very easy to get to. If you've got a question about your car, a lot of people having problems with this cold weather. This morning I was running around, a few minutes late getting here, trying to get here with just dealing with people with different problems. You can ring us up here and we can talk about any kind of problems you're experiencing with your car at 9960500, 9960500. This cold weather, this bitter cold, brings on a whole new kind of set of problems that you normally don't run into. Like you can't open your door, it's frozen to the car body, things like that. Different cars start to act very differently, especially when you get below, well, it starts at 15 degrees and less, let's put it that way. Under 20, sometimes it's apparent if your car is ill-maintained. When you get to 15 and 10 and 5, even newer cars that are in pretty good shape, or if they've been kept up, start to have problems. The older cars, if you've neglected them, well, they start to show, it starts to come forward. Any weak batteries, electrical systems, contacts, things like that, we can talk about that. But I think this weekend, AAA and other shops will be very, very busy. A lot of batteries, people say, my battery died. And they don't die so much in the winter. They get sick and ill in the summer. In the winter, when the chemical reactions are reduced because of the temperature, is when they just finally give up. But the summer is what kills the batteries primarily, the heat. And just at the winter, when the chemical reaction is severely reduced because of the cold temperatures, is when the battery just can't deliver under those circumstances, and it just gives up totally. But we can talk about things like that. For instance, 8 reasons why your car won't start in this kind of cold weather coming our way. Now, in the old days, the days of carburetors, which carburetors pretty much ended in, well, for all practicals, for the mass cars anyway out there, 91, I would say, would be the last year of on light trucks and consumer vehicles. I think Jeep had a carbureted vehicle till 91, the Jeep Wrangler. It was one of the last to convert over to fuel injection. The 91 model was the last, and I guess they kept it simple because they send the Jeeps all over the world, and they'll go to some countries where, people have very limited knowledge on how to fix things and do things. So a carburetor is pretty straightforward, where electronic and fuel injections and computers and fuel pumps, electric, and all this stuff is way, way above their pay grade, so to speak. And if it breaks out there in the jungles, they just can't fix it. So they kept carburetors for quite some time, until here in the States they couldn't run with carburetors because of the environmental regulations, and they just can't meet them and be as clean running with a carburetor. Some of the bigger trucks with the big gas engines did continue with carburetors. They were exempted, but the codes did catch up for the heavier rigs as well. And in the old days, you didn't have alcohol in the fuel like you do today, so tanks would freeze up, and your gas lines, because of condensation, the water would freeze. Now with 15% alcohol, when you go buy gasoline, there's less freezing than you used to experience years ago. So if you think about it, in the old days, on a cold day, a lot of people couldn't start their cars because their gas lines froze because of the water in the system. But the alcohol now does minimize that to a large degree. A lot of younger people aren't even aware of it. Okay, it does still happen, though. That's not to say it can't happen or it does not happen. It does still happen. And there again, it gets down to how you maintain your car. And frankly, if you get a bad batch of gasoline with a lot of water in it, and then you're in a whole different dynamics. Things like that can happen. But give us a call here, 9960500, 9960500. If you're out and about, good day to go talk to Andrew or David if you're looking for a car. We have some great selections right now in a lot. And if it's something we don't have, you can consult with Andrew or David, and they will find the car for you and bring it in. But you have to have a conversation. You have to tell them what you're looking for, a price point you want to be at. If you have a trade, if any finances have to be arranged, things like that, we can discuss, make arrangements. We do business pretty much local credit unions around here. It's better for working folk. You get a better deal if you qualify. You pay your bills, and you have halfway decent credit. It works out better for you. We do business with some banks. That's not to say we don't do business with banks. A bank chartered as a bank, let's say. We do use some banks that work with us, and we also have what they call a blood bank for people with terrible credit, people who are rebuilding their credit for all kinds of reasons. Some bad luck, some brought about by their own destructive nature. So others, it could be all kinds of reasons. You got sick, lost your job, you name it. But we try to work with you and see that we can try to get the best financial packages you can. Some car lots prey on people with poor credit, and the interest rate is reflective of that, and so is the car price. And they really, sometimes when you reach that point, you kind of get buried when you buy the car. They really bury you. So it pays to shop and get advice, is what I'm trying to tell you. And when you and work your way out of a situation if it's a bad situation, and improve it. Okay, the only person who can do that is you. You have to be responsible for your acts and take control and rebuild your credit. And rebuilding your credit doesn't necessarily mean burying yourself in a 6 or a 7 year car payment that you really can't afford, and then you're back in trouble again. So a lot of people lose sight of that. A lot of the cars we sell, they get financed. Those that do finance them, you're talking payments of anywhere from $150 to $250, sometimes $300 on a truck or an SUV, something a little heavier in price. Most of our stuff is priced between $4 and $15. We do sell the SUVs, and the trucks do tend to creep up there until just under $20. That's reality, because the new rigs are going $40 to $50 to $60 for a new truck or SUV. And that's what's happening out there. So prices tend to be a little strong on the new stuff, and if you don't have a decent amount of money down, it can be very high payments. And that's why more people are going, and more the dealerships are pushing leasing, because very often you look at a car that's $40,000, and you don't have enough down payment, cash down. Don't forget you're going to come up with your taxes now because of the Patrick raised it 25% to 6.25%. So now the levy is much higher. You're going to cough up. And so the sales tax and registration and then the down payment can add up to a tidy piece of change that most people just don't have. So they take the alternative to lease. And so you can generally, and a lot of people also kind of like overlease. What do I mean by overlease? Well, generally you can lease a car that you normally couldn't afford to buy. Okay, so you can lease a more expensive car, a fancier car with more equipment. But the reality was, if you had to go buy the car, it's just you couldn't put it together in a regular deal. So sometimes leasing can work for you if you pretty much keep it to what you normally would buy, and you don't let your eyes get bigger and get into something a little heavier. And of course, it's reflected in the payments too, the lease payments. So it depends how you approach things. There's no more simple black and white when you go out there and buy a car. Best thing is do research, talk to people, shop around, and all we ask is that you put us on your shopping list. And Ralph's Auto Center is, as I mentioned, is directly opposite of New Bedford Vocational's faculty entrance, school bus entrance on Church Street. We're diagonal from Little People's College. These are landmarks so people know, and we're right beside Dollar General, Webb Plumbing and Heating, and, of course, Regal House Furniture. And right off exit 5, not a traffic light, not a stop sign to get to. But if your car this winter is going to beat up a lot of cars, and people are starting to think, we have a lot of people, we do a tremendous amount of business out of town as well, because we do, if you want to look up our inventory, you can go to ralphscars.com, ralphscars.com, check out our website, check out our inventory. It's constantly in flux and changing. We've been a little bit behind this storm. This weather is obviously has slowed us down a little bit, because you have to take pictures, put them online with all the snow, getting these cars ready, and then the first half of this week was a very slow start, to say the least, for pretty much all of us. In our business, our inventories are outdoors, so we're kind of like outdoors a lot. And that's why I'm not a big advocate of winter, personally speaking. I'd rather see palm trees right now if I had the opportunity to get out of here. But I wanted to talk to you folks. So give us a call here, 9960500. Some of the things here about why your car won't start, I'll go down a list here. Dead battery. Dead battery is the number one cause for a no start. The battery is weak, but not totally dead. The starter may turn slowly, and you'll hear that slow grounding, that that rollover groaning sound as it's trying to start. It's a sign of low voltage, and you probably have a dying or a dead battery. In other words, you might have left the light on, a map light, or in the car, and you get out of it, and your car doesn't have the body control module doesn't have it's not intelligent enough to shut it down. Some of the cars like Chryslers will shut down if you leave your courtesy light on, your map light overhead. The body control modules will shut these lights down in 20 minutes or so. But a lot of cars don't have that feature. A lot of foreign cars, especially the lower end ones, they don't have that feature. So if you leave your trunk light on or a map light overhead, it'll just weaken your battery and sometimes kill it. There's other factors as well that come into play, but dead batteries is a big problem, and also you have to check things like poor connections, clamps. Your clamps all green, they haven't been maintained, they're not tight. Most people and most service places don't even look at them or advise people on it. I always tell my guys, look at those batteries, you got to treat those. You see them all green and built up with all kinds of corrosion. That is a definite. That increases resistance, makes it much harder for electricity to flow. So hence you have a much slower starting car. And in cold weather like this, where everything is against you because the battery is going to put out less energy chemically because of the temperature. And these are the things that should be checked and dealt with if you want to make sure your car starts. And for folks who like some of these traveling nurses and people who go to help out folks at home, your car is important to make sure it starts, especially, Murphy's Law comes into play. Murphy's Law, right? When it's the worst possible time for something to happen to go wrong, that's when it's going to go wrong. It's the way life is. So Murphy had it figured right when he talked about that problem. And when you go jump cars, you got to be very, if someone asks you to go, or if you ask for a jump, or someone comes to jump your car, and you get a set of jumper cables, a lot of people go out and buy these really cheap jumper cables, which they can work and they'll save your butt when the chips are down. But very light cables with the gauge of copper, and some of them are aluminum, the cheap ones, is very thin. You have to put them on and let it charge, let it equalize a little bit. If you go to crank them right away, you can sometimes melt the cables because they just can't handle the load going across the line, especially longer cables. But the real cheap ones are usually shot anyway because they know they have a problem to begin with right from the get-go. So you have to get when you go buy a set of jumpers, you buy the lowest gauge you can possibly afford, and preferably in copper and stranded copper, so that it can handle the load better. And I've seen cables melt. I've seen people come in and say, "Gee, I can't understand my cables melted." Well, you got to understand the physics here involved, the mechanics involved, And also, I've seen people blow up their alternators because they put them in reverse. They don't know positive from negative. I've seen so-called tradespeople do the same thing, put it on in reverse polarity, and they either damage their car or they damage the guy that's trying to jump them. So sometimes you got to be very careful. I've started cars with just one jumper cable. Think about that. How would you start? A good trivia question. If you just had one cable, how could you start another car? See if anyone who can figure that out there. We'll put it out there as a trivia question. Give us a call here if you have the answer, 9960500. If you just had one jumper cable, not two clamps, just one clamp on each end, one cable, how would you jump start a car?
Does it involve a bucket of water and you standing in it while you hold?
No, we're not in a Jordanian prison here, just torturing people with a battery and a bucket of water. No, actually, on today's newer cars, it's a little more difficult, to say the least. But there was a time it could easily be done. Maybe a few of you guys out there have been around machines for a while, have done it. But I've done it several times in a pinch. Okay, when you're really short supplies. Okay. But you should choose heavy gauge cables, okay? The lower the number, that means a heavier gauge, like an 08 gauge versus an 06. The 06 is a heavier wire. So if you're buying jumper cables, and then you're going to spend yourself $20-$40 at the least for a decent set. A cheap set's like $20. And when you see these sets for $7-8, they're I mean, that frankly they're better than nothing, and they can save you bacon. But if you're better off buying something a little bit better, and also have a little better length on them. Some of them are real short, and you have to kind of, if you're in a position to get a car in close to you, fine. Sometimes you're not, though. See, that's a problem.
That happened to me. A friend of mine had some cheap
cables.
Some cheap cables, and like his car died because he was a frequent offender of not keeping up on his maintenance of his car. And we tried to jump it a few times, and it just wouldn't take a charge. And then somebody came by with some nice, like, thick, heavy
duty cables.
Yeah. And it started right up.
Yeah,
and it really made a huge of a difference.
It does.
I didn't think it would, but
yeah, it does. Well, with the light gauge cables, you just have to wait longer. You have to wait for the batteries to the other battery with some moxie to charge the other one up a little bit, and let them equalize out, and you can start your car. We've got a couple of callers here. Very good afternoon to you, caller.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I saw something on TV. I don't know if it's any good. It's a small starter, and it only has 2 cables.
It's a battery pack, ma'am?
It's a car starter.
Right. We sell those. We have the WeGo. It's called WEEGO. That's the brand name. That's the one I sell is a Highline premium cell. They use Samsung cells, and these are lithiums. So, and it's the size of they're a little bit bigger than a cell phone or a paperback book, a small paperback book.
Yeah, it was so cute.
Yeah, I've got them. We sell them. We've been selling them.
Are those any good?
Yes, they're very good actually. If you buy the right one for the kind of machine you're driving, and you can put it in your glove box. And let's say it's charged when you put it in your glove box. A year from now, it'll still have approximately 75% of its charge in it.
Yeah,
so
that's what they said. Yeah, it looked nice to have. If you live in and out of the way where you can't get help right away.
No, you're very observant. That's. I guess they're pushing them on the radio and a TV. Well, I'm pushing them on the radio.
But they were like $80.
Yes, that's the one we sell. I think is right around there, maybe a little bit less. They're about $80. That's the standard version. You can go. They have a heavy duty and they have a professional version. There's 3 different versions: standard, heavy duty, and professional. And the professional can start diesel engines as well, or larger, very large gas engines. Yeah, and you can run your cell phone and your iPad and laptop.
Yeah, that's what they said.
Yeah.
But it would be just like to start a car if you're traveling or something and you're out in the desert and you don't know what you're doing, Yeah. But it only had 2 cables.
It has 2. Right, it has the positive and the negative, which you plug into the little battery box, and you just hook those up to your battery, and then go inside. And if your battery has some energy, a little bit, and along with that being at least 75% charged, because they tell you if it's below 60% charged, you're going to have some issues, but it generally will start.
The thing itself isn't charged. The starter.
Well, your battery. Sometimes people will take energy out of that little battery, and they don't charge them. So when you want to use it to start a car, it doesn't have enough power in it as well. So you got to make sure it's charged at least more than 60%. Okay, for it to work properly.
Oh, I thought that was something. I had never seen it. I just happened to be turning the channel, and I thought, gee, that looks like a cute little box,
Yeah, it is. They're very small, aren't they? The one we sell is the standard version. It'll start engines up to 4.6 liters, so that's like a small V8, like a 283, or up to a 2.4 diesel. So like the Jeep Liberty diesel or some other smaller like the Volkswagen diesel. It's a 6,000 milliamp battery, so it's got some spark to it, to say the least. Charges in about an hour and a half, and the size of it, just so you know, it's 5.5 inches long, 3 inches high, and it's 0.7 inches wide.
Wow!
So it's 5.5 inches long, 3 inches high, 0.7. So it's just under 3/4 of an inch thick. It weighs less than a half a pound.
Wow.
So, and you put it in your glove box, and most people with Toyotas, Corollas, little Hondas, like a gal who travels, a traveling nurse, or if you go out of town, and you never know, it's cheap insurance. And you're going to wait for AAA. Sometimes on a bad storm, AAA shows up 2 hours, 3 hours later because they're swamped. They're swamped.
Yeah, if you're having trouble, everybody else is.
That's exactly right. You're right on the money. So a lot of people, they get frustrated. They wait. So the standard one is less than 100. The heavy duty is just over 100. The heavy duty one is, just so you'll know, it's double the power. It's 12,000 milliamps. So that's got some.
How much is it?
Well, it has 12,000 milliamps in it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's how much it holds. Okay, the power of the battery. These are lithiums now. These are the ones I stock. Built. The batteries are built by Samsung. So they're high-end batteries. There's different levels and quality that you can buy, whether you're talking shoes, clothes, tools. It doesn't matter. But the next one up weighs less than a pound. It weighs 0.95, and it's only 6.3 inches long.
Wow.
3 inches high, so the same height as the other one, and an inch thick. So it's still not a heck of a lot bigger. It's a little bit heavier because it's got more batteries in it, and that's the heavy duty. And the heavy duty has got it starts a gas engine up to a 6.4 liter. And a diesel up to a 3.2. So a 3.2 diesel is like a Mercedes 6-cylinder, something like that. So diesels take a tremendous amount of energy to start because they're high compression. So, but I mean,
they're not. You know these things that these kids are using. Isn't that a lithium battery too?
How are they using it?
You know these things that they step on them and they go. What do they call them?
Oh, the hoverboards. Yeah, it's a similar technology.
They step on them and they're just two wheels like.
Yeah, that's like
I don't know what they call
those,
them.
That invention there. You move forward.
They call them like hoverboards. It's almost like a Segway.
Yeah.
It's almost like a Segway.
Aren't those lithium and they're having a lot of trouble with them?
Yeah, they had some fires, I think, with them.
Right, yeah. But how about this little thing? It's lithium too?
They probably use lithium, because they take so much energy. But see, some of the cheaper lithiums, they've had problems with fires.
Yeah.
And laptops. And, they've had lithium batteries have to be built. You get what you pay for is what it comes down to. It's you get what you pay for.
Right.
So the difference of a few dollars, you might as well buy something quality. But the WeGo brand is a high-end brand, and they make a professional model too for people in the trade or people who just need more power. It's 18,000 milliamps, so that's a real powerful one, and it's only 9 inches long and 3.5 inches high and 1.1 inches thick, and it weighs 1.5 pounds. So it's still not a and compared to like guys out in the trade who've had battery jump boxes that weigh 30 pounds.
Oh my God! I know they're huge.
I have them at work. They're a pain. Let me tell you, I'm tired of looking at that thing around. So, yeah, no, it's real pain, and they're lead acid, of course. They're lead acid batteries. And they really don't last that long, the lead-acid batteries. You're replacing them, especially if you put it to work a lot. I mean, they are under tremendous use.
Oh, yeah.
But this, if you drive and you want to be safe and have a little insurance, I mean, one call at AAA. If you don't have AAA, you can spend $100. So.
I paid one time. I left the door half open and went off for the weekend, and the light was on.
Yep.
And I come home to a dead battery.
Yep.
And the gas station is like half a mile away.
Yep.
And he charged me $60.
Yeah, well, you would have paid. You would almost paid for one of these.
Yeah, but I didn't know anything about those. This was a while back, but boy, I almost passed out. I said, "Are you kidding?"
Yeah.
It's $60. Wow.
Well, it's and also if you're an active person, you have cell phones and iPads and laptops, and you travel, and you can be in your car, and you can take the power off this, so it gives you some diversity because so many people have devices with batteries now.
Yeah.
And very often your cell phone battery don't last after a couple of years or so. A year after you get past a year or so, they start to go to, they don't seem to retain their charges like they used to.
Well, okay, thanks for the information.
Okay.
I thought it was something new, but evidently it isn't anything.
Yeah, well, we've got one if you want one.
No, because I don't go. My car hasn't moved for almost a month.
Oh, well, you better go out and start it. Let it charge that battery up a little bit today. Let it warm up if you're going to have a bitter cold night, so just to make sure. And a lot of people who've been complacent on having their antifreeze checked, we check people's antifreeze for them. We don't charge to do that, but people today just, they think their car's like their Sony TV. You just plug it in and play. It's cars require maintenance like we require maintenance. Yeah. Granted, they go much longer now.
I have it done at my gas oil change there, so I don't know.
Yeah.
At your place, so I don't know if they do it or not.
Well, we give it a quick check, but if you ask them for the antifreeze, they'll go into it. But we check all the fluid levels. They'll check your overflow bottle, things like that. But to do the actual test on the chemical.
If I should start it, how long should it run?
Probably run it for 15 minutes.
Oh my God! I wouldn't have any gas left.
Well, what are you driving? A Humvee?
No, it's it's a Kia.
Well, come on. How much gas are you going to burn? A quart? Maybe a quart, and I'm probably being pretty liberal when I say that.
Pardon?
I said maybe you burn a quart of gasoline, if that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's either that or have a dead battery if you haven't started your car in a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So, well, I thought maybe with the warm weather, it's supposed to be warm on Monday.
Well, chance it. Take a chance it. And then wake up from the dead on Monday or Tuesday when it's up to 30, 40 degrees.
Yeah.
Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yep, bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay, we got another call here we're going to take. Very good afternoon to you, caller.
Hello?
Hi.
Hi, I think I got the answer to your question on the starting a car with one cable.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you put the car bodies touching each other?
Okay. Then what?
Then you hook up the cable.
Okay. So which cable, what would you hook the cable to? What side of the battery?
Positive.
Positive. Are you positive?
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah.
But how would you do that today?
Well, that's hard because of the bumpers,
That's right.
But years ago, you could do that.
That's right.
Make contact, do bumpers, and, you get the perfect,
Well, you have to kind of sometimes jump up and down on a bumper a little bit and create a little connection, spark, if you will, right?
Yeah.
And start the car.
Yeah.
Very good.
Hey, I got another question. Have you ever heard of, I'm sure you have, Dodge Brothers?
Yeah.
Last year I picked up a 1926 Dodge Brothers sedan.
Wow. 1926 Dodge sedan.
Dodge Brothers.
Yep, Dodge Brothers. Okay. That's an oldie. That's like the squarish job, right?
Exactly.
Yep. And that's a sedan, so it's a four-door.
Yes.
And it's got the flathead 6 or 4?
Flathead 6.
Flathead 6.
Yeah.
They weren't Spitfires. I forget what the hell they called them back then, but
the doors are like I think they call them suicide doors.
Oh yeah, the rear doors are suicide.
Yeah.
Now the radiator ornament.
That's one of the things that are missing. There's a cap there, but it's not the original because I've seen pictures of that particular car, and they do have a type of ornament on there.
If I'm not mistaken, that's really a nice thing to have, and I would imagine they used to use the Star of David.
Exactly, that's the signature.
The Star of David.
That's on there.
They were Jewish. They were Jewish. So
yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yep. So.
That's on there.
But that's rare to find because people, keep them as souvenirs and things like that.
Yeah, they take them out. And plus the wheel caps got the Dodge Brothers insignia.
Yep.
The logo on each one, which is good. And plus it's got the wooden spokes.
Wow. You restoring this?
I'm trying to. The inside has been done already.
Well, you have to go to Pennsylvania this spring and find some parts.
Yeah, I've been trying to get parts mostly through the Hemmings Motor News.
Yeah.
But it's... I've always wanted one, and I came across this, and the opportunity was there, and I...
Well, go down, was it Carlisle, right? Pennsylvania. Look that up. That's coming up in the spring. I think it's May.
It's not a safe car to drive.
Well...
There's only brakes on the back wheels.
Yeah. Well, it's safe if you.
It only goes like 25 miles an hour.
Yeah, so that's safe.
The steering is terrible. Yeah.
Well, it's very basic, right? I mean, it's not like today. Things have changed a lot in the last 80 years.
So how the tires? The tires have like crackling on them.
Well, you probably end up replacing the rubber if it's dry rotted.
It's not really bad, but it just bothers me. I just know how would I go about getting tires?
Oh, they make them. There's companies that make antique tires for cars.
Yeah, that particular year.
Yeah. They're out there. There's companies that do it.
Plus, I need two because they're tube tires,
Yep.
But one of the problems is trying to get getting the tire off of the rim.
Well, that's if a wooden spoke wheel. I can't say I've done one of those.
It's a split rim.
Oh, it's split?
Yes.
Oh, that should be easier than a split rim. You unbolt take the side with the bolts on it and take that part out. And you lay the tire in there, and then you have to put that back in.
There's going to be a special tool for that, would you say?
What, to get the ring off?
To open up the ring.
Well, how's the ring held in place?
It's like it's spread and locked in place. Some kind, they mounted the tube on the tire, and then they spread. When they get it onto the rim, I guess they spread it and it like locks into place.
I'd have to look at it, or have one of the old timers look at it. I'm not that old, so I don't go.
I'm 76. So.
Yeah, but I don't. As I said, I've never done one of those tires.
Yeah.
Everything I've worked on has been a steel rim on up. I've worked with tubes, pain in the butt, but.
Yeah, getting the tube in would be a problem too, I think.
Well, no, it's approach it positive. You'll get it done.
Yeah.
Talk to some other timers. You'll meet other guys at meets and stuff, but they'll make tires and tubes of that. You can find them.
Someone else told me they do.
You go online?
Who?
Do you go online at all?
I don't have a computer.
Gotta get with a program, brother. You should get a computer.
Yeah.
You gotta get in the system.
A lot of people are telling me that.
I meet so many people like 50 and up who are not connected, and I'm not saying, but you can just further your education so much. Improve yourself, you improve the world.
Yeah, that's true.
Let me know.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Very good afternoon to you, caller.
Ralphie.
Hey, Billy, hang in there. I got some other calls, okay?
All right.
Thank you, bye. So let's see, which one do I hit here? That's the one. I hit, okay. This call is next. Hi, caller.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Hi.
I got a fast question. I was just thinking of having my antifreeze checked. Is your place open today?
We had a technician there up into the morning. Now, I don't know if he's there after 12. I don't know.
So you don't think anybody will be there now?
Well, you can call the sales department, see if they should be inside. It's cold enough. But
okay, what's the number there?
998-1141. 998-1141.
Okay,
if there's somebody there, they'll help you out. If not, it'll have to be Monday.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, where are we going here? Hi, caller. Thank you for holding.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hey, Jay. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Listen, I know you're a collector of historical stuff, so here's one for you. I was just finished reading a book about the assassination of the Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
The assassination?
He was assassinated in Sarajevo on June 28, 1914.
Okay, now you said you had a book. Did I hear you right? A book on the assassination of Prince, was it Prince or King? It was
Archduke.
He was a duke.
Yeah, Archduke Franz Ferdinand.
Of the Austro-Hungarian.
Right. Now, the thing that I learned from that was he was riding in a convertible
carriage, wasn't he?
Limousine.
Yeah.
With a top down. And do you know? And I just saw a picture of it in another book. I got another book and looked at the picture of the car.
Yep.
It's I can tell you what kind of car it is.
Alfa Romeo. No, I'm only kidding.
No. Grass and Stiff.
Grass?
Grass.
Oh, Graff.
G-A-G-R-A-S and Stiff.
Yeah, it's probably an Austrian or German company.
I guess it must be Austrian or German.
Yeah.
But anyway, the license plate number was 11-11-18. 11-11-18.
Wow.
That's the day World War I ended. Talk about irony.
Yeah, it started with him.
Yeah, it started with him, and it ended on 11-11-18.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, he was shot by a Serb anarchist.
Yeah,
Serbian.
Named Gavrilo Princip. He was 19 years old.
Yeah, he was a anarchist, if I recall.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring that up because I was at the exact spot of where he was shot, just over the bridge in Sarajevo.
Yeah, which is right near a coffee house, which is still there.
Yeah, it was down. It's all cobblestone streets. It's
right.
I was right over this very old Roman. I think the bridge was built back in the Roman days. To be honest with you, when I saw it, but there's a plaque they put on the street right where he was shot. and maybe they show a picture.
He's considered a hero. The guy shot him.
Yeah, but there's a nice big bronze silver plaque that they put down in the ground, and I stood right over the spot where they shot the Duke.
Right.
Because the guy asked me, hey, you want to go? You're familiar with World War I? Yeah, a little bit. You want to go where it started, where they shot the Duke? And I said, sure, let's go.
Right.
And I was only
wow, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, so I was only.
I found it amazing that the license plate was 111118. Talk about irony.
Yeah, Sarajevo was a very different city, I have to say.
Yeah.
Very different place. Very different.
But anyway, you know the lady who said her car hadn't moved for a month?
Yeah.
She should be out there starting her motor.
Yeah, but she was worried about the gas.
Well, you can either worry about the gas or about the dead battery.
Right, pay me now, pay me later.
But, you know, and here's a little tip. If it has been sitting there for a month, don't just turn the ignition. Turn on the headlights first for about 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Get the battery
juiced up. Get the energy flowing through it.
Yeah, get the battery, the little dormant battery particles moving.
Right.
Then start the engine.
Yeah, you put a little light load on it. Well, headlights are fairly good load, actually, but you get the electricity moving through the battery.
Yeah.
You get the chemical reaction going on instead of just shocking it to life.
Yeah, because if you shock it to life, you may do one of two things. Flood it,
yeah,
in which case you have another problem. Or, if your battery's half dead already, you may kill it.
Right, you just shot it out. It's kind of like somebody shaking you up, and you're just in your PJs, and say, come on, get out, let's go. You go outside, and you go outside and just in your pajamas, you haven't warmed up. You say, holy Moses. You're being called to action right away. It's like, whoa. It's like a shock.
I already told my wife tomorrow morning, yesterday I used my car, so that's no problem. But tomorrow morning, I'm going to go out. I don't care if it's 25 below.
Yeah.
I'm going to go start the car. Because I don't intend to go anywhere tomorrow.
Yeah, well...
But I'm going to go out and start the car and warm it up for about 5, 6, 7 minutes.
Well, if the sun hits it, let the sun warm the bones up a little bit, and then you start it.
Right.
That makes a difference, Big difference, actually.
So that's all I had to pass on to you.
Yeah.
I thought you might be interested in the historical aspect.
Yeah, no, that's interesting you brought that up about Sarajevo, because it just happened... I was fortunate enough to be there to see that, actual place where they shot him.
Yeah.
And started World War I, and then I read into the history of, I forgot the fellow's name you mentioned, that shot him, and he was a young man, and he was Serbian.
Yeah, and he died of tuberculosis in prison.
Yeah, and that started this crazy war of World War I.
Yeah, a war that nobody wanted to start, but everybody was dragged into kicking and screaming. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, well, maybe we'll have World War IV that way. Some people say four.
Wow, here's a trivia question for you.
Yeah.
If we ever had World War IV, what did Albert Einstein say World War IV would be fought with?
Sticks and stones.
You're close. Slingshots.
Oh, slingshot. Well, I thought it was sticks and stones, but
slingshots.
Yeah, well.
I guess he was looking at World War III being the end of it all.
Yeah, well, some people say that the Third World War was the Cold War.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you could look at the Cold War, that was technically the World War III. And now we're entering, that depends on your thought. But, the next physical contact war, I guess people would call it World War III. But, and you like books and read books, and if we have a little philosophy talk here, when empires get in trouble, what do?
They start wars.
That's right. When they can't pay their bills, what do?
What do? They print more money usually.
Well, they print money and start wars.
Right.
Throughout history, this is more than one case.
And then, of course, the money ends up being worthless, and guess what?
The analogy's been made that we're very much like the Weimar Republic was in 1920.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah, if
our country right now.
Read the history of the Weimar Republic, they'll be amazed at how much money was floating around.
Right. Well, they say that that's kind of the situation right now, but people haven't woken up to that yet. But markets are starting to. Look at the contraction in the marketplace.
Yeah.
The global markets, this market. You can see the deflation taking effect. So, let's hope the worst dire consequences of all this don't come to pass, because if they do, we're going to, although, Jay, I sometimes, I mentioned this, I think last week or the week before, when you want to look at the future, look what's happening in Canada. If that happens to us, we're going to be in dire straits, I think.
Yeah.
Going to be in dire straits.
What's the price of a loaf of bread in Canada now?
Well, everything's gone up pretty much 30-35%.
There you go.
The last year or so. So the people realize how poor they are because their currencies, I won't say collapsed, but it's certainly contracted. Now people say, well, Ralph, come on, wake up. It's commodity-based. It's based on oil. Well, yeah, that's true, but it's a deflation that's taking place. See, people can't think. They think inflation. They can't think deflation. Okay?
Well, you're right. I often say to people who talk to me about, everything's going up in prices. Oh, the inflation. And I always say to them, there is no such thing as inflation. It's the devaluation of the currency. That's why things go up.
Well, yeah, right. It's prices don't go up. Your money's worth less.
Your money is worth less. Yeah. I told a friend of mine one day, I said to him, take a $10 bill out of your pocket. So he takes it out. So I said, because he was talking about how solid the currency is, and I said to him, you know what that is? So he goes, yeah, it's a $10 bill. I said, no, it's not. It's an IOU. He said, what?
Yeah.
I said, it's an IOU. In other words, the government owes you $10.
Well, it's a Federal Reserve note.
Right.
It's
and
their money.
As long as everyone plays the game, the system works.
It's their money, not yours.
You go to the store and you give your $10 bill in for groceries, and as long as the grocery store says, we'll accept the paper, that's fine. I said, at some point, if somebody says, I don't want that, I want the silver or the gold, the system collapses.
Well, we're in interesting times, aren't we?
Certainly are.
Well, we'll have to see how it plays out. We're probably living in some of the most interesting times in history. All times are kind of, every time is interesting, but things seem to...
I guess every time is interesting, but sometimes they're more interesting than others.
Well, we have not managed ourselves properly, and we're reaping what we've sown. And I say that in an agnostic way, okay? I'm not, you can say it being an agnostic. You don't have to bring religious connotations into this. It's a universal law. You reap what you sow. So you do good, well, good usually comes back to you. You don't do good, negative.
You eventually pay the piper.
That's right. And
the piper's price keeps going up.
Well, we just have a populace now that's, you look at the drug problem.
And the Democratic Party, not to get too political, but Bernie wants to give away the store plus the building. Never mind the stuff in the store. He's going to give you the building and the stuff in the store.
Well,
Who's going to pay for it?
It's a repeat of the usual politician mantra, vote for me and I'll steal for you.
Yeah, and I'll give you free stuff.
Vote for me and I'll steal for you. So
right.
Got to let you go. I got another caller here, Jay.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Hi, caller. Thank you for holding. The lines have been
Ralph,
busy.
how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Good. Jerry speaking.
Hi, Jerry.
A little hint about keeping your battery warm over the night. You had a little trickle charge there.
Correct.
What can you do to ensure your car's going to start up in below zero weather in the morning?
Well, that's a good question. If your car is older, then like the trickle charger keeps your battery warm.
Yeah.
And those are cheap enough. Like I hooked up on your car. Remember to bring it back to life?
Right.
And that worked pretty good, right? After a few hours.
Leave it on all night.
Yeah, and then the next day, bam, it went off, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Some people have little trickle charges that put out an amp and a half. The max is a trickle charge. I don't think would be more than 3 amps, but usually it's like a amp and a half. You're buying for $20-25.
So that would help.
Yeah, that would definitely help.
What do you call something they used to? Maybe I'm dreaming here. It's something you used to put into your dipstick to keep the oil warm.
Well, they have base pan heaters and they have dipstick heaters, but see, most gasoline engines you don't need that. If we are up in Maine and Vermont, like real bitter, and it's continuous, then okay. Once you get once you get almost every night 10, 20 below zero, like in Vermont, places like that, that's problematic. And base pan heater, something like that, definitely puts, but it takes energy too, right? You're going to plug that thing in.
So this little post bill we're getting is just a 24-hour thing, I think.
Yeah, down this part of the way, the main thing is like keep your gas tank close to full so you have less condensation. It changes the temperature and you get less chance of moisture getting in there. Keep your door jambs, the rubbers lubricated with some spray silicone so they don't freeze to the door when you go to open it. If it's especially after the weather, one day we get rain and the next day it's subarctic weather, so that moisture doesn't have.
That's not WD-40, right? No.
No, spray silicone. I mean, WD-40 would work, but I don't know if I'd want to put that on the rubbers of the vehicle. Silicone is kind of like a match to the rubber.
Yeah. Whereas
the WD-40 could be it could deteriorate the rubber. It probably tells you.
I have some in the house.
Yeah, spray silicone you buy it in any of the mills at the department store.
I'll probably be all right. My battery, even this morning, it was pretty cold. It just kicks in right after that. I never had trouble. I never had any problems yet. So.
Yeah, you get in there and just turn the key on, wait a few seconds, and the fuel pump comes and it'll take off. We got the news, Jerry. I got to let you go.
Okay, guy.
Thank you for holding. Bye-bye. Catch you on the other side. Okay, we're back for the second hour of All About Cars. My name is Ralph Medeiros. I own and operate Ralph's Auto Center with my son Andrew, and we're located on Church Street in the north end of New Bedford. Very easy to get to, just off of Exit 5 off of Route 140. So if you're in the suburbs, you can come by and see us, check us out, not a traffic light or a stop sign to pull in. We offer some good service. We can help you out with any kind of problems you're having with your car. We're very competitive on our pricing. We only do what's necessary. We do kind of like a lot of restorative type maintenance, just to patch you up and keep you going safely, though. We don't do, we're not going to let you leave unsafe or do things that are just not right. But we do try to maximize what you got instead of replacing everything, when only one or two parts will do, instead of replacing all kinds of other accessory parts connected to it. If they're in decent shape and have life to them, well, we let them give up the rest of their life before you have to spend money to replace all these additional parts. Some places like to be double sure, and they kind of go a little further, and it does, of course, raise the price. Same could be said for kind of like when you go to the medical establishment and you get all kinds of tests. Some may be necessary, some questionable, or some procedures they give you more than you bargained for. Of course, you're not paying the whole bill sometimes, so they go for all the insurance they can get. So you have to, just go in with your eyes wide open and shop around and talk to different people. But if you're in the market for a good quality used car, please put us on your shopping list. That's all we ask. Go to our website. If you don't get online, go drive by. Come by and talk to us about a car. But you can get started if you're connected. You can get online. You can look at our inventories and get a start there. And it's always in flux. Sometimes, as I said, we've been a little behind putting everything on because of all the weather. It's really kind of crimped us as it has everybody. It's slowed us down, and things are tough enough, let alone having to deal with storms. But that's life in New England. That's why they call us New Englanders. We're a little tougher than usual to make it happen. So give us a call here, 996-0500, and we can talk about whatever's on your mind. Certainly a lot of things happening in the world and the news. I see there's Beyonce, I don't even know, Beyonce here, the singer. Beyonce, am I saying it right? Am I saying it right?
It's Beyonce, but
Beyonce.
You can just say Bey.
Bey.
People respond.
She did her Black Panther act there and all that, and it's I don't know, kind of ticked off a lot of the cops, I guess, from the articles I'm reading here. I don't know. I think these actors and people, I mean, I thought I was watching more of a pawn show when I saw it at halftime than it's crazy today. I mean, it's just they sell your eye more than sell the quality of the singing or the they're selling your eye now.
Right, and
all TNA,
For some reason, just because they're in front of in the spotlight, we take their opinions, political or whatever, more to heart than more educated. I don't know.
Well, you mean in a spotlight being on national TV?
Yeah, just because they're on TV, that means I don't know, they have more.
Yeah, but they're selling. It's like bread and circus for the masses who are dumbing down. You know, we've lost so much of our intellect. It's just, and you know, when I say that, you don't have to go to college to have any intellect, to have some thought, some deep thinking, to be a person of substance, to be a person of integrity, or have some morality or some moral guidance. All right, Matt, I don't know who's queued up as who's hi, let me see. Hold on a minute. Okay. Caller, are you there? Oh, nobody's there. Hello, caller.
Ralphie.
Billy.
Yes, sir.
Hey, good. You got through.
Yeah, I finally got through.
Yeah, good. See, I don't know what line you're on, so.
So what's new?
What's new? The lot is cleared and plowed. And Andy and all of us did a lot of work to get it clean and get our cars ready and kind of crimped our action a little bit, like everybody else. You know, it's just more work, Billy.
Yeah, I understand.
More work.
Yeah.
More work. So it's just New England. Sometimes you get tired of it. Sometimes I don't know.
Oh well.
But
take it and do the best you can.
That's what you do. You got to just keep carrying on.
Call it another day. That's all.
Yeah, just get out there and slug it out, Billy. Andy's brought in some vehicles, some Jeeps and all, but we've sold some Jeeps too. Right after we got the snow cleared, and we've been selling some Jeeps and some cars, and we work hard at it and try to get them ready.
You got all new stuff, huh?
A few. I got some stuff here that we got a great selection of all-wheel drive Subarus. Yeah. We saw a lot of Subarus. They represent good value for people who don't want to spend a lot of money. And generally, they're all priced under $10,000, between $5,000 and $10,000, and they just represent a good, solid all-wheel drive car that's good on gas, and they don't kill you on repairs. And we service them out, so when you leave with them, all the major components are in good working order, and there's no issues. So you're not going to be, after you get your sticker, everything's going to hell, and you're spending all kinds of money. And we don't do business that way. So.
Right.
So. But how'd you dig out? All right?
Oh, I'm out. Yeah, fine. Everything's cool.
Yeah. Well, you're on the main drag there, so that gets plowed, I'm sure, pretty good, right? Because that's part of the state system.
Right, state highway,
yeah. So even though it goes through the city, that's part of I think it comes under a different heading on being plowed, right?
Yeah, state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the city plow it or the state plow it?
The city plows it, but the state is the one to put all the new road in, new sidewalks, yeah.
Well, I think the city might be under a mandate to make sure that road stays open.
Probably, yeah.
More so than some of the others,
Right.
So
anyway, what car was made in Japan, American car? What was the first American car made in Japan right after the war?
Made in Japan?
Yeah.
An American car made in Japan after the war?
After the car, yeah.
After the war?
Right after the war.
Geez, I thought we bombed everything to smithereens.
Well, no.
And it wasn't a Japanese car?
It was not. It was an American car.
They built an American car and they shipped it back to the States for export?
I think they did, but it was the first American.
Jesus, Billy, I don't remember. I think the earliest.
In Japan.
The earliest I recall.
Right after World War II.
Jesus, I didn't think anything. I didn't think they could send anything back except nothing. It was junk. I mean, after the end of the war, unless they're sending back all our Jeeps and stuff we sent over there, and they shipped them back, and all this military equipment. But the Japanese didn't start exporting cars, at least to America, until late 50s. I don't think Toyota, early 60s, when the first Toyotas hit the West Coast. They were the first to come to the States in any numbers.
An American car.
Yeah,
American car.
I'm not aware of any American car, Billy, that was built in Japan and shipped to America.
I want to tell you who it is.
Yeah, go ahead.
1951 Henry J. made by Kaiser Frazer.
They had it made in Japan?
Yeah.
Well, somebody built it for them and shipped it here.
It was said here, the first American passenger car assembled in Japan following World War II was the Henry J. 1951. By Kaiser Frazer.
Well, we'd have to look that up. I guess they had a Japanese company over there build it for him, right?
I guess so, but it was the first American car, it said.
No kidding.
And the very first American passenger car.
Henry J.
Henry J.
Huh.
How's that?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's the Henry J. I remember the Henry J's. They were Kaiser, weren't they?
Made by Kaiser Fraser.
Yeah, Kaiser, that was in the late 40s. They were a big steel company in the war years.
Yep.
And they did go into car business. They actually owned a Jeep company, if I'm not if I remember right.
Yes.
They had...
But that's the story. If you look it up, you see I'm right.
Matt, look that up. We're going to check Billy.
Huh?
We're going to check you.
Going to check it?
We're going to fact check you. Make sure.
Make sure I'm doing it right, huh?
Yeah, make sure you're not trying to bury us here. You know? Give us a snow job here, you know?
I'm coming out with some good ones for you lately, that's all.
Yeah, well, they must have. I know. The only one I can think of, the Kaisers were all small little cars. Well, not all, but they
they were good passenger, good-sized cars.
Yeah, but who was...
Henry J was their little small car.
That's what I mean. The Henry J's made the little car.
Right. It was a little two-seater.
Yeah, they made a little... that's where I remember the Henry J's for little cars.
Yep, that's the ones that was made in Japan.
Okay. See, I didn't know they built
in Japan. Kaiser Fraser was the company that owned them.
Do you see the Henry J? And we're going to look that up because I remember they made some real small ones. And in the 30s, they built some small cars. And they used to have a fold-up car.
Yeah, but this is American, not a Japanese car. It's an American car.
Well, not real. It's an American-labeled car, but it's built in Japan.
Well, according to what it says, it's the first American car assembled in Japan. 1951 Kaiser.
Yeah, they just put the American label on it. Kind of like they're doing now with Buick. They're bringing in a completely assembled Chinese car. Buick shipping over here a small SUV, and it's completely built in China. And that's the first Chinese car to be sold in the States under an American label, the Buick. Now, Volvo, I think, is bringing over the S80, and it's assembled in China, and they're bringing it into the States. And they weren't.
You got to figure after being bombed to hell, they still be able to make some cars back then.
Yeah. Did you find it?
You got it?
No. You saying 1951 Henry J?
Yes.
So my laptop's jammed up here for some reason. It's not locking into that Wi-Fi here, but I don't know what's going on here. Find out what's going on. Yeah, no, I have to look that up and see what's going on.
One.
Go ahead.
Have you ever Packard pickup truck?
Yes, vaguely. Yeah, it was a 50-something, wasn't it?
They were in the 50s.
Yeah, 55-4, right around there.
Yeah, but did Packard make the pickup truck?
Oh, boy, I honestly don't know. It was probably built by, back then? Let's see, Studebaker?
No.
No?
No, it wasn't. Well, I'm going to tell you.
Okay.
This guy owned an auto body shop and welding and everything.
Yep.
And he dragged in a 51 Packard 200 4-door, which it wasn't worth nothing. And he said, I got to get a little pickup truck. So what they did is they took the back doors off, used the floor, made it roll it over. You got to look this up. What a pretty-looking car. Pickup truck.
Really?
Yep.
Who built it, though?
Sky Out West did it.
Yeah, but they didn't. In other words, was it a production car?
No.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
He took all Packard 200s, 4 doors.
Okay.
And when people seen this, they all wanted one. So he said, I'm going in business. So he's made at least 2 dozen of these Packard pickups. If you can pick it up in there, in the computer. Fancy, this happened to be a red one, but a real fancy-looking job. They kept the bumpers, the tail lights, and made a tailgate, and they rolled it over with the Packard lights. Guy was pretty handy.
Huh.
So everybody wanted something different, and they go out and buy a Packard 200 4-door, which don't bring no money in, and then they make a nice Packard pickup truck out of it, which was more money than the car itself.
Huh. Yeah, I imagine, because you had to pay his labor and conversion.
Well, he said back then, he said he could, well, according to the article, said he could do it, if you brought in the car and everything, he could do it for $9,000.
Huh. Now, that was a Henry J you were talking about, right?
Henry J, yeah.
Yeah, it's, did they have that the one with the Continental tire?
No.
No? Okay.
It had the wings in the back. You know, the fins had 2 small fins in the back of it. I remember the street had one when I was a kid, a 2-door red one, NVJ.
Yeah, it had the fins in the back. I remember that.
Standard little thing, nothing fancy, with a stick on the wheel. I mean, it's nothing fancy. But I remember he owned it.
And you're saying it was built in Japan?
Yes, assembled in Japan, yes.
I don't see nothing on that.
Article.
Yeah, I don't know.
Pat Foster, yeah.
Yeah, I don't see nothing on that.
It's in the book. It's in the book he makes out.
Yeah.
Comes under classic car. On Pat Foster's article.
It says here that the Henry J is talking about being the low price end of their product line.
Yes, that was the cheapest one.
Yeah.
The other one's right.
But at the time when Americans were going into bigger cars, they took a punch because nobody wanted the little cars.
I think I found it.
You did? Okay. Billy, go ahead.
It was a partnership between Kaiser Fraser and Mitsubishi.
Mitsubishi, there you go. They brought us, okay. So, and what did they do? What's it say there? Did they build a car, or So they've had relationships like that going way back because they built cars for Chrysler for years. The little trucks, the little Ram trucks, Billy, right? The little Colts, right. The Colts, all that. The Dodge Colt was Mitsubishi.
Colts, yep. The Arrow. The Arrow.
Yeah, Mitsubishi built, right?
Yeah.
So Mitsubishi is not new to this game. So anymore?
No, they've been way back then.
Yeah, so
they were assembling this NVJs.
Yeah.
The Kaiser Fraser Corporation.
Huh.
Yep.
So maybe, Billy, you're right there, buddy. You think you're right. So what else
I'm right.
Says about it? I can't read. He's on a page now.
I'm going to be right because I don't want you to make a fool out of me.
We're going to translate. I'm looking at a page. It's all in Japanese. Can you hit the translate on that? Matt, you're going to have to hit translate because my days of reading Japanese are over.
Yeah, see, the guy that does makes his Packard truck was Ross. Is a classman of Parkton, Maryland. He's really interested in 50s era Packards. So for 20 years he worked on Packards and for a living. And he's storing them. And he come up with a 51 Packard, 4-door, 200 series he bought. And the back of the car was long gone, so he would decide to make it into a Packard pickup truck so he could use for his business. But as people seen it, there's more and more. They wanted this luxury Packard.
Yeah.
So if you brought in your 200 Packard, he could do it. It wasn't worth much money, the car itself, in a number of days. So he made a pickup truck out of it. And according to his thing here, he says that so many people liked it, they wanted it. How much would this cost? Ross charged $9,000 for the conversion.
Sure.
How's that?
I'm reading here that a 54 4-cylinder Corsair, which is a Kaiser car, right? A Corsair, remember that? Mm-hmm. Was priced at $1,286 with a 6-cylinder engine. And a deluxe version cost $1,437, or $124 less than the previous year. And new safety features included padded dashboard, and the windshield was mounted so that it would pop out on impact. So, in other words, when you did a windshield taste test, it would, instead of going through the windshield, it would pop out. Mm-hmm. That was what they considered safety back in them days, because safety belts were not standard. And a penny-minded, I like that, as well as a penny-minder carburetor that was claimed to achieve 30 miles to the gallon U.S. All right, so that's interesting to see how they worded these things back in the day. Yeah, so but consumers
that's a little information.
Yeah, that's interesting. So Matt, did you ever translate that Japanese site?
Oh yeah, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
It's down. The only information that they provided was the plant was in Kawasaki, Japan, 1951, and the Henry J was the first car.
Oh, the Henry J was the first car. Gee, I wonder how many they brought in, Billy. No number on it, huh?
No number, no.
Wow. Well, that's certainly an interesting factoid on the auto industry, huh?
Well, I got
you got me there because
the gray car, another Henry J.
Yeah. No, I would have never believed that they would bring a car in so early.
There you go. Yeah, that shocked me when I looked at it. I got to call off this. See if he gets it.
I know the VW Volkswagen imported in the 50s. Well, what brought them to America, though, the Beetle, I think, was 50, I don't know, I want to say 50, 55, 50.
The little Beetles, yeah, they're coming early. They're coming early.
Yeah, but they didn't go nowhere.
After the war.
Yeah, they didn't. They were very slow to start, but they kept at it. And they, but when they started to import into the United States, the Volkswagen, and Mercedes too, for that matter, they went through Studebaker.
Well, if you get a chance, Matt, look up that Packard. The guy made into Packard pickup trucks, and they're pretty sharp looking.
Yeah.
And he's made 24 of them or so. And anybody wants them made, just bring your own 200 four-door Packard, and he'll make a pickup truck for you.
Yeah, but he's not doing that no more. He's out, right? He's dead.
No.
He's still at it?
No, he's still at it.
No kidding. So this is a guy who's doing it more than... I thought he did it back then.
No, he loved Packards in the 50s.
Uh-huh.
Okay? He worked on Packards.
Yep.
And so he needed a pickup truck, so he decided he'd cut this one up and make a pickup truck out of it. He used it for his business, but everybody's seen it. And then he took it to some shows, he said. Huh. And people said, well, if you get me one, I'll do it for you for $9,000 and make a bed out of the back of your car, and you got a Packard pickup.
Wow. Very interesting.
Very interesting, huh?
Very interesting, yeah. Yeah, so...
I'm only call you with interesting things, Ralph.
Well, you definitely enlightened me on that Mitsubishi-built Kaiser J, Henry J.
Okay.
That's definitely interesting. That early in the deal, because Japan was still digging out of the rubble in 50-51.
That's why I said, wow, that is something different.
Yeah, that is different.
Right
That's very
after the war, they make an American car.
Yep. Yep. Well, yeah, badged as an American car. Yeah, that far back. Yeah, that surprised me. Yeah, that's certainly.
Like you say, they bombed the heck out of Japan.
Yeah. That's true.
With all them atomic bombs and so they were pretty well hurting, but to come out with an American car, I said, wow, this is something different.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's interesting.
Okay, Ralphie.
Thanks, Billy.
Lesson for today.
Stay warm.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. That was a good test question. Hi, caller. You on?
How you doing, Ralph? M1HCW checking in on the Atwater Kent Model 10.
Oh, yeah, those Atwater Kents are quite a radio, huh?
That's it, man.
How many tubes? 4?
5, actually.
5. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably one's the power supply too.
On the plates ×2 plus 5-volt filament.
Wow, so you're going to heat your house with that.
That's it, man. Well, hey, the vintage music you play sounds pretty good on it. So.
Oh, it was designed for that.
Oh, I
yeah, everything is acoustically tuned. The old timers, they knew what they were doing.
Yeah, that's it, man.
AM at that frequency, amplitude modulation and Monero,
I've seen the rig on eBay. A couple of comparable radios that I have with the cabinet going for like $5,000. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, the collector radios have gone crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts. So.
Especially the fancy consoles that are nice shape, the veneer's in good shape. The water hasn't hit it.
Yep.
A lot of people retro their houses. Those are sought after, and they're paying several $1,000s for a really meticulously restored.
Yeah, it's all good, but the vintage music you play sounds good on it because, par for the course, as they say. So,
yeah.
That's it. So, but just checking in for
good to hear
support here. I enjoy your show.
Thank you.
I listen every week. So.
Good. Well, I'm glad you enjoy it. We try to keep it interesting.
All right, Ralph.
We don't. All right. Thank you for calling. Stay warm.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. Very good afternoon to you, caller.
Hi, Ralph. How are you?
I'm better than I deserve. So.
I was curious what you think about negative interest rates. Now, as a retired person and having a couple of bucks in the bank and stuff, how's that going to affect me?
Well, it's going to affect you because they're basically stealing from us even more. Okay?
So you wouldn't get any interest on your monies in the bank?
No, actually, it costs you money.
Oh, wow.
They'll take 1/4 of a point from you or 2/10 of a point, whatever they go negative on, like they're doing in Europe. They've done it in some countries in Europe.
It just gets better and better.
It does. And then Janet Yellen, in this week's past interviews on her in front of the Senate committee, did not rule that off. In other words, she didn't say that was not a possibility.
Yeah.
She did not say categorically, well, we would never do that here. She said, she left it open as a possibility, depending on circumstances.
That's unbelievable. So what do you do with your money?
Well, that's a very good question. Some people, that's we could talk for hours on that, but that's why the Swiss franc has shot up like crazy. Okay, even the euro's gone up. I'm perplexed by that. And when you look at the price of euros now, they're like $1. Well, last time I looked, it was $1.12, $1.13. It was down at $1.08, $1.07 not that long ago. A couple of weeks, gold is up, $100 plus or so. It did retreat a little bit.
Yeah, gold and silver has gone up. Gold's what, $1,200, and silver?
Gold is silver's like $15.70, I think, and silver was gold was $12.50 roughly, $12.40, $12.50. The last numbers, I look at so many numbers, but this is going to be interesting. What I see as a caution is I've seen the future, and it's Canada, and the Canadian currency has, I don't want to use the word collapse, but it's certainly gone down significantly, and now the average Joe hit the ragman, you add the S, finds himself saying, whoa, what the hell happened here? Everything's shot up like crazy. And the Canadians now are finding themselves, and the food has gone crazy. Everything's gone up like crazy because their currency has receded, and it's because of the oil collapse of commodities.
I would think that negative interest rates, wouldn't that hurt the banks? Because people will be pulling their money out. I don't know, where would you put it? In your mattress?
That's exactly right. Where are you going to put it? Well, they're trying to do is make you put into equities. They're trying to stop a deflation. So they give you an incentive to put your money and invest it. Okay.
So you have to go into stocks and things?
Yeah. Well, actually, your problem is, they're trying to flush the money out. Right.
I see.
And then, actually, if, I don't know. If they're going to pay you negative interest, maybe you tell them you want your money out. You take your cash out. But even then, they give you hassle now under these new banking laws. You go in and ask for $10,000. What do you want to do with that money? What's my money? What are you going to do with the money?
I know, isn't that
And they're going to report you. Yeah, because it goes back to when Reagan administration passed the Money Laundering Act, and ever since then they've kept updating the law so that now you and I, citizens, are considered potential criminals for taking your own money out when you transfer money. We have more of a police state now in this country than ever before. We're losing our individual freedoms. We've certainly lost a tremendous amount of our economic freedoms with these confiscatory tax rates and these regulations that are just continue to erode our freedoms. We have freedoms, but there's very high walls around what limited freedoms we have.
Exactly.
And we're at a real serious turning point.
So you're almost 70 now. I mean, like myself, I'm 68 years old. I've saved all my life. Now, if I go in to draw $10,000 or $100,000 out of the bank, there's going to be big question marks, and they'll want to know what you do with it.
Tell them it's none of their business, number one.
My whole life to save this,
That's right. I'll tell them it's none of your business. It's my money. But I think if there was a real contraction on the banking system, they won't let you take your money out.
Wow, great.
Okay? It'll be a bank in. So they're going to say to you, well, dear depositor, you're no longer a depositor. You are now a stockholder of this company. So they're going to take your money and do a bank in like they did in Syria. Excuse me, not Syria, Cyprus. Not far from Syria, but Cyprus. And they did a bank in. You get online at all?
No, I don't.
You've got
I talked to you one time.
You've got to get. If you folks out there are listening and you don't get online to expand your mind, and there's a lot of junk out there, like there's a lot of junk on TV, but you can get online, get off the mainstream grid, because they control your thoughts, your mind, and the propaganda you're going to see. You really have to educate yourself and enlighten yourself. And I'm not saying I have the answer. By no means do I say that, because there's so many answers, so many paths. You choose what you feel is your way to go. But if you're just going, see, if I can politely suggest that you're in an electronic ghetto.
Yeah.
Okay? You're truly in an electronic ghetto. And you've got to get out of that electronic ghetto. And that's why I sell these radios. I just sold a feller Amin's Marty. He bought a little transmitter for me. He can hook up to his computer. He can stream it to all his radios now. So you can enlighten yourself and entertain yourself. But these times we're in are very, I don't know if you believe in cycles.
Yes, I do.
Well, we're kind of in an 80-year cycle, and the music I'm playing is everything's gone retro. We're almost in that same 30s scenario. We've got, back then they had the Louisiana governor, Huey Long, who was pretty much a socialist. Now, who do we have today? We got the Bernie, right?
Yeah.
And then we've got the Hillary and the battle, and we're very much in similar cycles. History kind of repeats itself in a very different twist. But economically, we're in very cautionary area. And the politicians will lie to you. They'll lie to you smiling at you. They'll lie to you, and they do it every day. When you see them on TV, Obama's saying everything's great. Of course, they're going to tell you that. They don't want to panic people.
No, I know.
But the same week he says that, Walmart's shutting down 269 stores. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
What a contraction of our economy.
Yeah.
And who does Walmart sell to? The average Joe. The average Joe is broke. He's maxed out his credit cards. Everybody's loving it. He's taxed to death. He's insured to death. And we've got ourselves a real problem. Real problem.
So what do you do with your money? Bury it in the backyard?
Well, if you'd call me, I'll give you some places you could look it up and follow the path that you feel is your best way to go. But you sincerely, though, you've got to get out of your electronic ghetto.
Okay.
And I can help you with that. I'll guide you through that. And it's very simple and it's inexpensive. And then you'll enjoy yourself.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So ring me up at the shop. I'll give you some thoughts on that.
I appreciate that. Hey, I really enjoy your program. I listen almost every week.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm humbled by it. Thank you very much.
Thank you much. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Caller, thank you for holding.
Good afternoon, Ralph.
Hi. How are you?
I want to talk about that bank thing.
The what?
Must be so hard, the bank situation.
Oh, the banks.
It must be so hard when people save all their lives, especially some of the elderly people, and then they get ripped off even at the bank. What they want people to do, put their money in between their mattress, But the thing is, to me, that's like unbelievable. It's just like the fishing industry, where they're trying to destroy that,
Well, this is too much government in our lives, my friend. I'm sorry for talking over you. It's too much government in our lives. Look what happened in Oregon with Bundy, the farmers out there, the ranchers, who are pissed off with the land management, land bureau, kind of like they're doing to them, what they're doing to the fishing industry here. They're trying to do to them by getting them off, make them sell their farms to put them into preservation areas. And the farmers over there, the ranchers, have had it. And there's been some violence because of it. They shot a guy there, one of them, his name escapes me. But and over here, we're far more docile. But they're killing the industry here. It's just the overreach of government, and it's smothering us. And what really alarms me and pisses me off is when they say, oh, we can't change that. There's a law against that. We can't change that. That's the way it is. That's the rule. You know what? If that's the case, then I think we're at a point where we have to make some real severe changes. But that's going to come not from me. It comes from the masses in general. And a lot of them are just, their brains have been genetically modified. Go ahead, caller. I'm sorry. Are you with me?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for my...
Well, what's your thoughts about the banking, though, as far as your money being tied up?
I don't have any money in the bank because I usually take it out before the end of the month. I live in a fixed income like a lot of people.
Yeah, so you're maxed out. You're stressed out.
Yeah, but I know there's a lot of the people, not me, but a lot of people that they have savings and they saved all their life.
Right.
Going through this, that's outrageous.
Right.
I don't have money in the bank, so it doesn't affect me.
Right.
It doesn't mean I don't care about that.
No, that's good that you're involved and concerned.
Yeah. Same thing with the fishing thing with the industry. I just heard it not too long ago in the morning talk show on the radio about Georgia's banks. And I don't know if it's some kind of energy company or something wants this area and stuff. And I couldn't believe it. I go, this is probably what's happening with the fishing industry. Yeah. Well, what do they want? All this area for casinos, this and that. Fishing industries were kept in New Bedford alive for hundreds of years with the whales and everything.
Well, I agree. They should manage the fishery. But I think what happens is government comes in and they just take control, becomes bureaucratic. When you look at government, it's just Well, it's when have you seen them shut down a program that doesn't work? They just seem to go on forever. When private business, you start losing money, it's not working right, you shut it down, you move on to something else. Government programs continue on for whether they're good or bad, and many of them are questionable, and they just never come to an end. They're self-perpetuating. We have a serious problem in our country, and we're not addressing it. At the top, Republican, Democrat, there's no difference to me. At the street level, okay, there could be some philosophical differences, but, you know, I don't know. That's why I'm a political atheist. Thank you, caller.
Thank you.
Thank you for the call. Matt, who's up next? I just want to be, okay. Caller, you there? Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened to you, but if I missed you, call me back, please. Hi, caller, you there?
Hi, Ralph. How you doing?
Hi.
You know, what do you think would happen? We all know that the stock market isn't doing particularly well right now.
That's kind of an understatement, but go ahead.
I sometimes do that.
Yeah.
What do you think would happen to the stock market if all of a sudden Janet Yellen said, by the end of not 16, but 17, interest rates would be back at normal? What do you think the stock market would look like?
Yeah, probably be down to 6,000, 7,000.
Right, right. See, I'm one of those people who believe it never should have been this high to begin with.
Let me tell you, we have in our community an opiate problem, correct?
Right, agreed.
Well, they have a problem on Wall Street. It's not an opiate problem per se. Their opiate is money. The Fed has flooded them with money, and it's gone into the stock market, and it's made it very frothy and very high. So they're very high on all this very cheap cash because they're paying you crap for your money in the savings bank. If you're conservative, you put it in your federally insured FDIC money, and they're going to pay you 0.25%, maybe, or 0.5 if you go long. And they get this money on Wall Street cheap, and they hedge out and they speculate.
Well, see, that's it. I think you brought up a real good point. It's not about that money going into new factories and new products and, you know, really generating an economy. It's a game they're playing.
Well, yeah, a lot of people hedge. No question. It's a casino. It's a financial casino.
When the bets go bad, well, I guess we're all paying for it.
Well, when the real big bets go bad, like Sheeman Lehman Brothers, that was leveraged out 40-1.
Right.
With Richard Fold, was I get it right? If I got it right, Fold, who was incensed when he didn't get bailed out, but Paulson and him, I guess, didn't get along, and they cut him loose, which, you know, created shockwaves throughout the global markets. But well, listen, these are the times we're in, my friend. Very interesting times.
Years ago, when I was younger, I worked part-time retail in addition to teaching. And I'm convinced that the economy was bad for a real long time. But what covered it up was cheap credit, easy credit, excuse me.
Well,
in other words, people could spend more money than they had because they ran it up on the plastic.
Well, that certainly started in earnest in the mid-'70s forward. In the 80s, it accelerated. In the 90s, of course, it's packed in quicker. But see, people are trying to maintain the standard of living they've become accustomed to.
Sure.
So now when you see that you have to stretch a little bit, go in a hole a little bit to maintain that same lifestyle, you're finding out that you're burying yourself. And sometimes everybody's in debt, and they wake up a little too late. And
I remember when I got my first credit card, it was not so easy to get.
Yeah. Well,
I actually had to take out a loan that I didn't want to take, but pay it off on a regular basis and establish a credit rating. Now they throw credit cards at you.
Well, not as much as they used to, but they do.
Yeah, a few years ago, to be fair, you know.
Not as much, but they still do. But look at the housing market. There's a distorted market from Fannie Mae and the others through government intervention that created this housing bubble.
That you and I will disagree with.
Well, read into
Fannie Mae did a lousy job, but the first problems were the people on Wall Street who were bundling these mortgages into
bonds. They sell them to.
Were in the same barrel, and they were selling it off. They didn't care. They weren't going to keep it.
Well, no, they're the masters of the universe. They're whores for making money.
Yeah,
and that's what it comes down to.
I remember reading reading an article by an expert and all of it, or a so-called expert, who said they weren't even sampling what they were buying. They were just buying it like crazy. I'm not talking about the houses, but all the mortgages and all that
But
stuff.
the agencies that were supposed to be rating those bonds, like Standard & Poor, were just rubber stamping them. They were getting paid big fees. And, everybody had to pay up a little bit for their sins. They've cost them hundreds of millions in fines and penalties with, no felonious acts, being charged. But, like Standard & Poor was one of the rating agencies that got spanked pretty hard. And, on we go. But it's...
Was it Enron that had a relationship with, maybe it's not Enron, but with these rating agencies? It's just kind of an incestuous thing that...
They probably put the rating agencies to sleep or bamboozled them, not get them the right information,
Right.
Or they were less than attentive on doing their audits, when you're playing golf on a golf course with a chairman or something, it might, things might get neglected.
A little bit of money does grease the skids, doesn't it? Yeah.
But
I think the average person who, as I'll say it forever, has not kept up for years.
Correct.
Therefore, the Walmarts can't stay in business because these people don't have money.
Right.
And you're not going to, we see it every Christmas time where they talk about, did we grow this year? Why do you necessarily have to grow every year? If you're making the profit you did last year, aren't you happy?
Well, but they're driven by Wall Street for returns to the investors. They have to get a return on their money like you want return on your bank money.
Right.
So same idea that obviously, there comes a point where you just have to say, move on, we're not making money. Especially,
it's not simply a return, but a bigger return.
Well, that's their march. I mean, they're beholden to the stockholders, and management is supposed to derive the greatest returns they can in an honest way. There has to be some morality to this, if supposedly, and integrity. Well, I mean, generally speaking, right? I mean, but it is return on investment, and these companies, they're all Wall Street driven. They feed money down to Wall Street, and then you and I would buy their stocks and get better returns. You'd end up with 5-6%, depending on what you bought, or lose, depending. But it's a regulated market. There's a lot of chicanery going on, and it's coming to an end. And the real issue here is that you, me, and many other regular, innocent people will be paying the price for ill management.
Absolutely.
And look at your buddy Obama.
Countries, even places like China, this cutesy phrase, quantitative easing.
Yeah, well,
which is cheap money again.
Well, it's printing money. It's creating money. Yeah. But they do that because, understand now, this is from your side of the court now more. These are mostly people who believe in Keynesian economics, okay? They're not laissez-faire or, Austrian-minded economists. They believe in Keynesian economics. You print money when you have to, and you're supposed to tax it when things come back. But we've got deficits now that, when you look at our debts, and you don't have to take my word for it. Any educated person says these are unpayable.
Oh, I agree.
So what's the solution? What's the solution? What's the solution?
There is no realistic solution.
Oh, there is.
Extreme pain.
It's okay. You hit it. It's we've delayed the onslaught of economic winter.
And the main reason, I'll argue anybody, I certainly have the evidence to prove my point, the main reason for that huge debt is our huge military spending.
Well, listen, I don't... our main reason, there's a lot more to it than that.
Which the Pentagon is not happy with. The cost of the program is, at this point, because it doubled, $400 billion. That's that's $1,000 for every man, woman, and child in America.
Yeah, but that's still chump change. Your buddy Obama has doubled the national debt from $8 trillion to $19 trillion, $18 trillion to change. So, the money didn't go to the military. Okay, it's the most.
Well, they did a pretty good job about lying about Obama decimating the military.
No, he has not.
I've seen a lot of new ships. I've seen four new ships in the last 9 months.
Oh, well,
there's a whole new class of aircraft carriers.
But, you know what? A lot of those are ordered 5, 7, 8 years in ahead of time. They don't just order the boat when it shows up.
Nothing to do with it, you know.
Oh, you know what? It doesn't matter Obama. It doesn't matter Bush. Okay, it's a system.
We've been on a war footing for so long. I said it when the Berlin Wall fell. What are they going to do now? What was going to be the justification for this great military spending they've been doing? Well, we saw the justification. Panama, Grenada, Iraq 1, Iraq 2.
Well, it's called terrorism now. We've got to keep the ball going. Come on.
How many battleships does ISIS have? How many aircraft carriers does ISIS have? None.
Well, the Chinese are building some now.
Oh, the Chinese is no threat to us. For goodness sake, we could collapse them by not paying them the money we owe them.
I think the biggest threat to us is our own government.
I will extend that and say the unholy alliance between big government and big business.
Well, then, okay, so it's corporatism, fascism. Benito Mussolini style.
The unholy
well, it's corporatism. Well, fascism. Take your pick. So you have a choice this coming election. You can vote a communist, Bernie Sanders. You can vote a socialist, Hillary. Or you can vote a fascist, Trump. Take your pick. I got to let you go. See you later. See you later. It's always fun. Okay, callers. Got off subject a little bit. Don't forget, when it comes to having your car service, please consider us. All we do is ask that you give us a call. We can give you some quotes. We have specials we run, like new tires. You can put a set of new tires for most of the Hondas, the Toyotas, the little cars. I can put a new set of tires on your car for less than $300, counting mounting, balancing, tax. You're going to spend maybe around $280 for a set of tires. If you beat bop around town, you need a set of rubber. Certainly beats buying used ones of marginal quality. They're probably well on their way to be dry rotted. You can put a new set of sneakers on your car for around, less than, probably just under $280. I can still buy that special that we saw, and I've sold a lot of sets. People have taken advantage of it. We're also a Falcon dealer on Falcon tires, which is a good quality tire without spending the big bucks. It's an excellent value tire. If you're looking for a good tire and you don't want to blow your brains out, then the Falcon is a tire you should consider. You can call, Ulysses is on vacation. Tammy and I will be in service next week, but you should consider those. And for those of you, if you want to get out of the electronic ghetto, I have a great selection of radios, and if you have a computer, I can show you can stream it right from your computer and transmit it. You have your own little mini BSM radio station, if you will. It's a broadcast on FM, and you can send it to every radio in your house, so you can learn and listen and stream courses and books and music and entertain yourself at pennies. Hi, caller. Got a real quick minute, would you? Going to give you a New York minute.
I'm Acushnet. How you doing?
Hi, Bobby. What's up?
I just wanted to give your service department congratulations for a quick service on my car.
What was that final analysis? I know your power steering. What happened?
Power steering let go, and I think it was another hose problem. But
okay.
Ulysses fixed it, and
you already got patched up?
I went there later this afternoon to pick it up. It's been done since yesterday morning, but I haven't had it.
Okay, Bobby. Thank you. We got to go. We're out of time. Thanks, folks, for listening. Catch you next week. God bless. Be warm.